Good evening, everybody. Difficult to believe it's 25 years since my dear Uncle Eric passed away. I can honestly say I only have the happiest of memories of him. He was the most special uncle, an enigma as well, because as the Haredi would say, he was such a koshli yid, but not a koshli yid who walked round in the sort of stamped hill garb of kittel and white shirt and big hat and everything. And I also always remember in that context the rabbi who spoke at his chesped saying the enigma that Uncle Eric was, because he was a koshliad, but in a blazer and slacks. I'm not sure whether we use the term slacks to describe trousers much anymore, but that really did describe him, that he was able to be as frum and yekisha as he was, but also come across as an average or an ordinary human being who embraced the secular world as well, but without compromising his religious beliefs. And in his yekisha ways, as we know, that he davened not every last word of the davening, but everything else on top as well. So he added things in to such an extent that I think it's correct to say that they gave him the key to shul because no one could wait for him to finish davening in the morning, so they let him lock up. I also, in a small memory I have, was when we stayed with Uncle Eric one Shabbat shortly after Raphael and I were married, and he got the Pesomim box out with the 4 candles on it, and the candles weren't all facing inwards or outwards. So before he would say Havdalah, he made sure that the candles were all facing in the correct direction, because that was his Yekisha way. Also, the happy memories, and I'm sure that all his children can remember, of him blowing his nose. When he blew his nose, you thought that walls would collapse. Screaming out to Auntie Hannah, "Hannah, where's the towel?" when he had a bath. May mean nothing to many of you, may mean something to some of you, but these are all the happy memories. He was the most wonderful uncle, the most wonderful brother to my dear beloved mother, and to my dear late Auntie Hannah as well. And it's nice to have the opportunity to reminisce and say a few words of recollection about him. Only sorry he's no longer with us. Be well, everyone.
Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk about my beloved Uncle Eric. Can't believe it's 25 years, and I remember the day he died. We were in Knocker, and Auntie Hannah, whom I also miss enormously, phoned me to tell me that sadly Eric had died. So we drove back. We hoped to make the funeral, but unfortunately we didn't, because there was a Man United match and the motorway was absolutely heaving with traffic. But you wanted me to talk about Eric, and that I do with great love and affection. Eric was, as we all know, an enormously loved person. He was a man of deep faith, unswerving faith. Yet he combined that with a great deal of tolerance for others who didn't perhaps practice their faith as much as he did, and with the same exactitude, because he was very, very disciplined in everything that he did. I don't want to give the impression that he wasn't great fun to be with, because indeed he was. I loved him enormously. I confided in him. He was my go-to person when things got rough, and he had enormous understanding, love, and I believe great respect from all his pupils. There was no one who had a bad word to say about Eric, and there are few people who merit such great affection that he enjoyed throughout his life. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and let's remember him with love, respect, and enormous affection, and say how much we still miss him. Thank you.
Hi, I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak about Uncle Eric. I wish I could learn to be concise, because there's so many memories come flooding back of him, and I don't know how to put that into 2 or 3 minutes at the most. My first memory of Uncle Eric is that we stayed somewhere together, and from the timing, I'm not even sure he was married then at the time, because I'm not sure if we were in the same bedroom, but I just remember he said to me that I could wake him up in the morning, or he told me that I said to him he could wake him up in the morning and play with him, and I must have woken him up at some unearthly hour in the morning and he played with me and my dolls. But I always remember that as being such a caring and loving uncle, and amiable and easygoing. That's the word I was looking for. Easygoing, very, very easygoing. And growing up, obviously, we spent lots of time together in Carmel College. Your parents and my parents spent a lot of time together. You were our family in the next neighbourhood, so to speak, and have lovely memories of being in Carmel College. But in terms of him as a person, he was always a very caring uncle. Never judgmental, never ever judgmental. Whatever I was doing in life, he took an interest in. He listened. It's a big bracha for somebody to listen. He actually listened to what he was saying, and he really cared. He used to call me when I moved back to England. He used to call me quite often to find out how I was doing. I think that's such a lovely midah in somebody, and I only hope that our children and grandchildren will learn to emulate that in terms of what it is to be a child. But I hope that more importantly that we will be able to, what I meant was that we would be able to emulate him in terms of being loving and caring and accepting of everybody and taking an interest in them. Only good memories of him, and obviously Auntie Hannah always helping him, being at his side. Please give her my love, and Meir Vesrim Shana, in good health, and hope you hear, I'm sure you will hear what wonderful things about him. There's nothing that anybody could say that would have been otherwise about him. Anyway, lots of love to you, and enjoy all the memories. Kol Tov.
I hope this comes out okay, because I've never videoed myself before, but I really, really loved Uncle Eric. He was such a special man, and two of my favourite memories of him, which I have already shared with Tova, was the first one was when I was a little girl and he went to South Africa for the first time, and he came to say goodnight to me because me and my brothers were already going to bed. And I cried and cried. He said Shema with me, and I cried and begged him not to go. But of course he went anyway, so that was that. And the second one was a very short time before he died. We went to see him, and he was in his bed and he wanted some water, and Auntie Hannah brought him the water, and he made the most beautiful bracha. Even though he was so weak and so ill, he still put so much feeling and emotion into that bracha, and it left its mark on me, I think, forever. What a wonderful, wonderful, special man. And I'm sure you all have the most amazing memories.
So I'm very grateful for this opportunity of saying a few words. Little Nishmas Uncle Eric, a person who we still miss every day, and we are reminded of every day as our youngest son, Shmuel Yitzchak Menachem, bears his name and proudly wears it as his badge. Thank you for sharing this, and we would just like to wish Auntie Hannah Arichas Yomim on the Yahrzeit. 25 years is a long time to be alone by yourself, but together we remember how wonderfully you created and the wonderful family you created together, and that should be a great comfort to you on this day. Sending our love from London.